Jadi permainan boleh apa sih? Orang orang
Yes. Very good evening to all of you. I hope all of you are doing good. Am I clearly audible to everyone? Yes. Hi everyone and welcome back. I hope all of you are doing good. Can you please give me the response in the chat? Am I clearly audible? Good evening, Manav. I hope you are doing good. Perfect. That's great. So welcome back to the next session of this advanced Python. And I hope all of you are doing good again. In this class, we'll be talking about the technical programming that we have already started in the previous class, where we just got to know that how to create a very simple, like a window of for the GUI application. I hope you remember in which we have used that and we have created, and we also got to learn that we are going to create some widgets also in that, right? Okay. So we are going to continue the session with the same. But before we start with the session, I would like to start it with the quiz that we follow, right? So I'm sharing the link with all of you, and I hope you have received the link in the chat. I request all of you to first please complete the quiz. And once you are done with the quiz, you please just let me know, and then we'll move forward with the topic mm, that we have to complete in this class. We have already started with that, right? I hope you do remember in the previous class. So I just want everyone to please click on the link. You got the link in the chat, everyone? Vishal, Suraj, Sneha, Rehana, Himanshu, Humaira, Manav, Arushi. Have you all got the link in the chat? Kaushik, for the quiz. Pushkar, have you all received the link in the chat? Perfect. Perfect. You first complete the quiz. I'm giving you 5 minutes. Once you complete that, after that, I will be moving with the today's topic. That's what we have to cover, right, in this session. Okay. Okay. You can take 5 minutes, and once you complete that, just let me know, right? Okay. Let me wait for others. No, Himanshu, this is not the first session of Python. Okay, done. I hope everyone must have completed that. Yes. Can you all please confirm? There are 19 participants in this class. Have you all completed that? Apart from Kaushik, Himanshu, Arushi, all of you? Okay, that's perfect. Great. Right. So I hope my screen is clearly visible to everyone. Can you please just give me the confirmation? My screen is visible to all of you? I hope this Python is already installed on your side. Okay, that's perfect. That's fine. I hope it is visible. Manav, Himanshu, Kaushik, Rihana, Arushi, right? Samiksha. Okay, perfect. So in this, what we are going to do, okay. I hope the Python is installed on your system and um, I hope, do you remember in the last class, we have been talking about the Tkinter programming, right? So this is one of the another, mm, we can say a Python interface which is available to us in order to create graphical user interface. That is the applications that we have to create. GUI we call it, right? And this is one of the feature that with which we use Tkinter, uh, Tkinter. Uh, that is the Python interface for the TKGU libraries, right? So Tkinter programming is the standard GUI library which we use for the Python, and it provides a very fast and easy way to create GUI application, graphical user interface, right? I hope you remember in the previous class, you remember how to create that. We simply use import, right? I hope you do remember that we imported this library, right? And in order to create the main file, yes, we are going to import the Tkinter again as like a keyword that you can say, okay? Or if not also, then you can directly use this, right? And one of the function that you can use TK in order to get that application, right? Okay. In order to get that we'll say here is the main panel that you will be able to see, right? Let's suppose I'll create in some variable in which I'm going to store this data, right? I'm just using a variable. You can use any variable, right? So I'm just importing the library and I'm calling a function TK. That is the main function of my this Kinter programming, which will help me in opening a new dialog box, new window, new panel, right? On which we can add some widgets, right? But in order to run that, yes, now with the help of this variable, I'm going to call this function main loop, right? In order to make it run. Okay. So once you are going to save it, once you're going to run this module, you see here that what happens. Yes, I hope you see a new window is visible to all of you. Is it okay, guys? Is it visible to you? Once you're going to run that, once you're going to use that, this import Tkinter, and you are calling this main function TK. And once you are going to run that, yes, you will see that a new, this Tkinter window has been created, right? This panel has been created. On that, you can add many widgets, whatever the things that you can do. Yes, you can add that, right? So this is what we are trying to achieve in this class. Okay. Is it fine? I hope it's understandable and it do make sense to everyone that what we want to achieve. Is it fine? Is it okay with till now? Is it okay till now with everyone? I hope it is working for all of you. Yes. Is it working till now for everyone? Arushi, Rihana, Manav, Samiksha, Suraj. Okay, perfect. Now in this class, what we are going to achieve? Yes, very important thing. We are going to, because this Kinter programming provides various controls. It provides buttons, labels, text boxes, because we are going to create one login form also, right? That will create on Monday also, okay? What we are going to do, we are going to create a login form also that we need to create it on Monday also, right? That will create login form. But in order to create login form, we need to learn how to add buttons, labels, widgets, these widgets, text boxes in that application. And there are 15 types of widgets which are available to us. Okay, so we are going to start with the very simple, right? That is the entry widget, first of all. Okay, everyone. The very first thing that we are going to start is the entry widget. Okay, now what is the purpose of this entry widget? That first we need to know. It is going to use to display multiple line of text. Okay, it is used to display multiple lines of text, right? This is why we are using that, right? So I'm using this text widget for the same entry widget. And if you want to display one, yes, multiple lines means one or more lines you can do, and you can add that. But with the text widget, you will be able to edit also. And with the label that is available to us, yes, obviously that is used for label only, right? But yeah, this is the one example that we use um, in order to show something on the entry level, right? That means whenever I'm going to use this entry widget, it is used to accept a single line text from a user. Okay, it is used to display and accept a single line input from user. Okay, that is why we use with that. Yes, there are two things that we use. One we use is the text widget. Okay, and one we use is label. Label is, I hope you understand, when in a form you give a name and you given a box in which you enter the data and you can edit also. That is text widget. Label is something that is written in front of that box, which is text, which is label. Now that is not editable, right? Which is available to us, that we use. So in this example, we are going to use this example in order to get an input from the user, right? Okay, for that, what I'm going to use, yes, I'm going to first import mm, my Tkinter, from my from my Kinter, I'm going to import first of all the libraries which are present. That's why I'm just using star here, right? For all the methods which are available here, I'm just using star here to inherit everything. The very first thing that we need to do is to call my main method, right? This is this is always going to be the first step. TK. Going to first call the TK function. Why it is important? Because very first time I need to create a window. Inside that window, we add more widgets. But first of all, I need that window. And in order to get that window, I have to get this, call this function, right? And in order to display that, yes, I have to use this main loop every time. So this will remain always fixed, right? In order to get that window, in order to display that, I have main loop, which is available to me, right? Now, whatever the widgets we need to do, we need to add inside that only, right? Let's suppose I want to have a box from a user. And before that, I want to have label first of all. So we have a label function which is available to us. So this label function will help me in adding this widget inside this top, which is the variable. This top is the variable, right? Where it is inside my loop. Why we use asterisk? We have used asterisk, Arushi, in order to import all the functions, methods which are present inside this library, right? Like in Java also you use, like for example, if I want to import any specific class, we use the name. But if I want to inherit all the classes, yes, I use star, like import java.util.scanner or util.star we use. So asterisk is that star which we use in order to get all the classes for this thing. Kinter programming which is available to us. I just use all these things, right? This is why I'm importing all the classes. I'm using star. Otherwise, I can just use label here also, right? I want to inherit label class, I can use that, but I want to inherit all the classes present in this Kinter programmer, Kinter library. That's why I'm just using asterisk here. Okay, so this is my main window which we are creating. Inside the main window, I want to have a label, and I'm passing first parameter as a top variable, which include that window, right? Okay. Now inside window, I need to add some text. Okay, let's suppose I want the user to enter some text, and text is user should enter the username first of all, right? Like if there is a login form there and box is there, bit from before that box, there is a label there, right? So I'm using a label to present in the top variable, which is my window application. And I'm using this second parameter as a text, that whatever the text I want to display it, whatever this text that I want to display it inside that main window as a label. And if we want to add this, yes, I'm storing this in a variable, let's put L1, and then I'm using a pack function here, okay? The pack function help me in displaying this inside this top, okay? This is what I'm using. Label, with that I'm adding it, and in order to display, I'm using pack, and here I'm passing the parameter as side is equal to left, because I want to display this on the left side of my window screen, okay? Similarly, I want to have a box also inside that text, which I want to get it from user side, right? So for that, what I'm going to use, yes, I'm using here text. I'm using here a function that is text, okay? I'm using here is, sorry, not text, the text I want to insert, that is to be done using entry, sorry, that's my mistake, okay? So what I'm using here is entry function, again top, but inside that there will be no text, right? Okay, right? But I'm just using one parameter here as BD equals to 5. Now what is BD? Now this represents, the BD represents here one of the parameter which will define the length, size of the border, okay? We have BG also, we have BD also. BD is the size of the border that I'm using to have that box. If I want more size, I'll give more number. If I need less size of that border, I will use less number in that. That's very simple, right? So I'm using an entry function here, which will help me in creating a box where inside this top variable, which is my main window, and I'm defining a variable as T1. And then again, in order to display it inside that, I will use T1 dot pack function, which again will be, I will be providing side, and let's suppose I'm writing your side as right, because I want to display this on the right side. Okay. So once I have saved this, let me run this method. And once I am running this method, I hope you can clearly see that this window has been created, where on the left hand side I have a label username, and on the right side I have a box, entry box, which is a text which is editable, right? But label is not editable. I hope you are able to see it very clearly. This is how in a login form the username and the text box is there. I hope you are seeing this it very clearly. Is it visible to you guys? You are able to understand that? So this is I'm creating the window. This is I'm using to display it, right? Then I've created a label with the text username, and I've showed it on the left side. Then I use entry method to display inside the top, inside the window with border size as 5. And I'm displaying it on the right hand side. Okay. This is what I'm using. So this is what we use in order to create a button. This is what I've used in order to create a button. Is it okay for all of you? Do you understand that very clearly? This is I'm using in order to create a button. In order to create a entry, right? I'm using here as a entry. I'm using here this entry. Okay, everyone. The entry widget is used to accept the single line text from the user. It is used to accept the single line. It is used to accept the single line text string from a user. Is it okay for all of you? Understandable? Is it okay, guys? Are you okay with label and entry? Are you okay with label and entry that we use? Yes. Any doubt, any kind of confusion that you are having? Is it okay? Perfect. Okay, that's great. Now, similar way, it might be possible that I'm just making it comment. Okay. Right. Now, similar way, let's suppose I'll be explaining you another widget. Mm, in order to display the multiple line text inside inside the window which is available there. Okay. Right. What I'm using here, I'm going to explain you another is the message, which is used to display the text inside the window. Okay, which is the window, this Kinter window I'm talking about, right? So again, same process I'm using from Kinter. I'll be importing all the classes, right? Then obviously I'm using this method top to call my uh, function, and I'll be using this top to call the main loop in order to make it run. Inside that, whatever we do, right? Okay. Now let's suppose what I'm doing is I want to display any message, and for that I'm going to use here a method as message. Okay, the message function will have three parameters actually, right? You see here. Okay, it will have three parameters that I need to use. One, where I want to display. I want to display inside that window. That's why I'm passing here top. The next, what is the value that I want to print, which is my text variable. Okay, which is my text variable. And let's suppose I'm creating a variable here where that is the variable name. And this will take the input from user in the form of string variable, right? Because I want to have a string variable, I'm calling a function string variable that is going to store in var, and this will assign to the text variable present inside the message. Okay, that is what I'm using. This is what I'm using. Is it okay? Right? This is what I'm using. Now there is one more parameter that we use. There is one more parameter that we use, and that we call it as relief. Okay. Now for that, one thing I use is flat, or other thing I use is raised. Okay. There are two values that we use. One is flat and one is raised the value, right? Now, what is the purpose of using this? Okay. What is this third parameter is there relief? The relief is one of the parameter which I'm using inside this message for the purpose to select or to specify the appearance of my decorative border around the label. Okay, like I'm using here text. Okay, like whatever the text will be representing here. Mm, let's suppose I want a text to be, hey, I hope you are doing good. Okay, this is my text. Let's suppose, right? This variable has a accepting string var, and in order to set the value of this, I'm using set function, and this is the text I'm using here. Now, for this text, if I want the border of text to be flat, I will use flat, which is by default value of this relief variable. If I want the border to be decorative highlighted, then I will be using here is relief. Okay. Then I will be using here is raise. Sorry, that's my mistake. These are the two values that we use. Okay. So this will help us in printing the message inside the Kinter window that we are generating here, right? So let me run this. Okay, so let me run this module and let me represent. Okay, so we got a error here. Sorry, that is to be string capital var. Let me run this again. Okay, we are not having any value. 1 second, let me check. Let me run this again. Okay, we are not having any error. Okay, 1 second, let me check that what is the error we are getting. Let me check my code again. from Tkinter, I have imported, yes, tk, which I'm using. Then I'm using string var, not vars, it's var Madhu, right? I'm using string var, that is my method, which I'm storing in a variable var. Then, okay, my mistake. I have not defined a variable here for this now. I have not defined a variable for this now, right? Because until unless I'm not using pack, I will not be able to display. My mistake. In order to in order to display any message, I have to use the pack function. Okay. I was not using that. So let me run this again. I hope you are able to see now. Can you please just confirm it to me? Is this visible to you guys? Is this visible to you guys? You're able to get the text? Is it working for you also? So I'm using this class. I'm using this to create a window, and to display this, I'm using this. Then I've called a message function, which will take the message and make it visible. What message? This is the string var variable, that is the with the function we are defining data type, and this is my message which I'm using. So once I take this message, I'm going to call the pack function in order to display, right? In order to display it inside that screen. Is it okay, guys? Is it working for you? All of you? Do you understand this message? Do you understand this message function? Is it okay for all of you? Yes? Okay, that's perfect. Other participants, those who are present in the class, is it okay with you guys? Arushi, Kaushik, Janvi, Madhu, Manav, Nitesh, Suraj, Vikas, Vishal, Adarsh, Nayak, Diman, Kalam. Okay, perfect. Then the next thing which we are going to learn is the button. Do you understand when I say button? Have you seen button anywhere? Can you give me any example of the button as a button widget? Have you seen it anywhere? Login button. Yes, Madhu, very good. Submit button is there. Sign up button is there. Is it okay? I hope you do remember that, right? Now, what I'm going to do is, yes, we are going to do one example with which we are going to create a button. And once I create a button, click on button. Yes, register button. Once I'm going to click on that button is going to help us in printing some message that I'm going to use, right? Okay, this is what the example I want to do. I'm going to create a button, and the button will help me in displaying some message or any other thing it can also do. But just first try to understand it from a very simple perspective, right? So from Tkinter, from Kinter, I'm again importing all the classes. Okay, that is required. And from Tkinter, one separate class we want to import is the message box. Okay, this is different. That classes are different. This is the different, right? Very simple thing again. Every time I need to do is I need to call to my tk function, and I need to call it in the loop. Okay, that is for sure. It will always be there, right? This is same process every time we have to follow this thing only. Okay. Now I want to create a button, and I want to place that button also inside that widget. And then I need to, once I click on that button, I want it to do some functionality. Like button is going to perform some functionality, right? This is why what I need to do, I need to create a function actually. Okay. So let's suppose I'm creating a function. I hope in Python, you know how we create a function with the keyword def. We're defining the method, right? Let's suppose my method is show underscore message. This is the name. You can take any name. That's fine. Okay. There's no problem in that. I'm just using that method. Okay. You can have any user defined method, any name you can have. It's totally fine. Right. So I'm using my class message box. And with the help of this message box, I'm going to call another method as show info. I want to show some information, right? That is, let's suppose I would like to, here is hello, welcome to Tinter, Kinter programming, right? This is what the message is. Okay, everyone. And let me again store in some variable as MSG. Okay, this is my method. Once I call this method, this message will help me in creating this variable and variable will show this information, right? Now this information I would like to show only when the button is pressing. So I'm going to use here is another class to create a button. Okay, once I'm going to click on the button, then only it is going to call this method, right? But button I want to display where? Button I want to display inside this Kinter window. So I'm passing here my top variable. Then what is the text I would like to have on a button? Let's suppose I would have submit button, right? This is what I'm writing text, the text which will be display on the button. And button need to follow what command? Whenever I will press that button, I want it to follow command that is to, no, we don't have to return it, Madhu. Once this, I will click on this button now. This button will give the command to click on the show to call this method. And once it call the message, I think it will print it, right? Okay, this is what I'm using. So again, I'm storing it in some variable called as B, and that is my button which I'm going to place. I'm going to place my button inside that window on some coordinates I had to do. So just I'm saying here x equal to 100, y equal to 100. These are my coordinates which I'm using, right? So this is to create an empty window. This is to display that window. This is to create a button inside that window with text submit, and with command is to call this method. And method functionality is to show this information, welcome to Tkinter programming, once I click on this button. And the button I'm going to display inside the window at 100 by 100 position. This is what I'm using. So let me run this and check it. Are we having any error? So currently though we are not, it is not showing error. We got this window here. I hope you can see we got a submit button. Once I click on that, it is showing me hello, welcome to Tkinter programming, right? I hope you will be able to see. So I'll click on submit and it is showing me this. Okay. On the message box, it is showing me information. That's what I'm using. On the message, it is showing me that information. Click on submit, and this is the information. Welcome to Tkinter. Inside that you want to show, that will be again your message, right? But I'm using here what is, I've used here is message box. This is why we are able to see that. Is it okay? I hope it is understandable to all of you present in the class. Is it making sense to you guys? Is it understandable? Is it okay? Right. So if you want to show it inside that also, that is for user information. If you want to show inside that, then you can also use this. Okay. 2 times you can put this message, right? Multiple times you can put the message. Okay. So let me run this again. Submit. And you see here, right? Okay. I got this. I click on submit this information, and inside that also got the message. 2 parameters I am having, right? This is, okay. Multiple time I'm doing that. Is it okay with you guys? Is it understandable? Is it okay? Is it okay for all of you? Yeah, you can take some time if you want to complete that. If you want to display, then Arushi, you use message only, na? Then you use only this, na? This is what we have done. If you want to display text only in the empty window, then this is what we have done, na? Using message only. Arushi, right? This is what you use, na? In that case. Okay, Arushi, right? But once I click on the button, I got to present that. This is why I'm using that. I hope it is fine and easily understandable with others. So we have done button, we have done message, we have done button, we have done message, we have done label also. Yes. Please tell me if anyone has any doubt in that, any particular concern, anything which is not clear to you guys. Is it okay? So we got buttons, we got labels, we got text fields also, right? Have you ever seen in a form that there are things which are there to select as gender as male, female also, or to select your class or department there, which is there in the form of a checkbox? Yes. Have you ever seen that? Like you will be giving the options uh, to select any option, like in a MCQ based paper, you are having multiple choice questions, right? So then things are there to uh, have it like a checkbox. Yes, we do have this option to create checkbox also there. To create checkbox also. How? Let me help you in understanding that. Right? So what we are going to learn is to create a checkbox. Checkbox, right? So again, same process will follow. Import, like from Kinter, import star. Same process we'll use always, right? Okay. That is fixed. We have to just use it, right? Okay. Then I'm just using import inter also, because if any of this function I need to use it from there, that's why. So very first thing I'll use is to create an empty window, and obviously will be running in the loop. Okay, everyone, right? That is fixed. Now what I want to do is I want to create checkbox. Checkbox will have some text also, and they will have some value also, right? Which is associated with that. Okay. So I'm going to first create two variables, check v1. Okay, then I will be using check v2. Because I want to have two options. If you want to have four options, you will take four options. Very simple. Okay, right? I want to have two options. I'll take two options. I want to have what data in that? Let's suppose I want to have integer variable. So I'll be using integer var. Okay, I'll be using integer var. If I want to use string var, then same thing I will use. If I want to have string var, then I'll use function string var to have a data type string. Because I want to have an integer var, so I'll use your integer var. Once I click on this checkbox, I wanted to have a what value. So based upon that, I'm using that, right? So two buttons I want to create, C1, and I want to create not buttons, checkbox, C1, C2. So I have to use checkbox. This is my function that I will be using. Check button. Okay. I'll be using here is check button. Check button. Okay. This is what I want to use. Right. Check button. This is my function check button, where I want to display inside my window, which I'm using, right? Same thing inside my window where I'm using check button. What text I want to display? I'll use that variable. Let's suppose it is male, and let's suppose I'm using text. The second box is female. Is it okay, guys? One button is for male, one check button is for female that I'm using, right? Then I'll be passing here variable. What variable I will be using here with that value? So that is going to be the value of this check variable one. Okay, this is what I'm using. And for this variable, it will be check v2. Okay, what I'm using here is variable. Variable, it control the track of the current status. Matlab, how do you know that which checkbox is ticked, right? Because on your screen, there will be two check buttons. Which check button is selected at a current time for which you have to take a value, you don't know. Because there are two checkbox you are using. One is having zero value and one is having, if the checkbox is selected, it will have one value. If the checkbox is not selected, it will have zero value. Very simple. 0 and 1 reflects to true and false and that, right? That is what we are using. So that's why two variables has been created to have a 0 and 1 value. If male is selected, it has one value. If this is selected, then it has one value. If it is not selected, it has zero value. If it is not selected, it has zero value, right? As simple. At one time, there can be only one 0 and 1, right? Okay, that's why we are using the variable which tracks the current status of the check button. Which check button is selected or not, will be able to understand from this variable value, right? If the variable value is 1, which means the current check button is selected, other one is not selected, right? So that value for which we are defining this, okay? This is why I'm using. Now, what is the value that I'll be having for that? What is the value which I'll be having for that? Yes, that defines on value, okay? That defines on value. Let's suppose I would like to have the on value of this equals to 1 and off value is equal to 0. Okay, this is what I'm defining. And I'll be also defining few more variable like height of that check button which I want. Let's suppose I want it as 5, right? And I want not this, not this, not this. It is same line, sorry. Then I'll use width also, okay? That again, I want 5, let's suppose, okay? This is what I'm using. So this is my variable check button, which will have this height, this width, on value is 1, off value is 0, and it will have this value. Similar way, I will repeat this all for second also, right? But at a single time, how many at a single time? Only one checkbox will be there, right? And that will be defining from on value, off value. Currently, I'm setting the value as 1, 1, both of this. After that, we'll check, right? And these two checkbox I want to display. So I'll be using c1.pack. I'll be using c2.pack. Okay, this is what I'm using, right? So let me first run this. We got unexpected in. Okay, let me check what is the error. Unexpected indent I got. Okay, sorry. I think that's my mistake. Yes. So I would like to show here this. Let me share my entire screen again with all of you. Yes, I hope my entire screen is visible to all of you. Can you see that? Right? So I've defined two variables for a value, integer value that I'll be having 1 or 2, right? That will go inside this variable. One having text male, one having female. On value 1, which means I have selected, which means at a single time, I can select both the check boxes, right? If you would like to check only one box at a time, you can pass here as 0, okay? So it will able to select only one checkbox at a time. Height and width that I defined it from my side. If you want less, you can give less value. If you want more, you can give more height and width also, okay? That's totally fine. And I want to display both the checkbox inside my this window, empty window which has been created. That's why I will be using c1.pack, c2.pack. So let me run this. Once I run this, I hope you will be able to see that, right? Is it visible? Right? So I'll tick this, I'll untick this, right? Okay, because both the on value is 1. That's why you will be able to select both of this. If you do not want that, yes, you can select the one of the value as 0 also. Is it okay? Right? Let's suppose you run that. So you see, by default, female is selected. Can you see that now? By default, female is selected. Is it okay? So whosoever is the value which is been selected, you'll be able to give that, right? Okay, everyone. I hope it's fine and easily understandable to all of you. If I'll give both as 1, 1, you see none of the value is selected on my check button, right? I will then select that. Okay. Once I select that, based upon that, value will change. Is it fine, guys? Understandable with all of you? Is it okay? Is it helpful? So we have created here is check button. Okay. Sorry, check button. Do you understand that, guys? Is it okay for all of you? Label, message, box, button, check button. Are you good with all these things that we have learned in this class? Yes. Is it okay with others? Other participants present in the class? Is it okay? Button, check button, entry, label, message. Is it okay for all of you? Easy to understand? Perfect. Similar way, we also have one more thing. Like somewhere what happens is a list will be given to you to select any data, right? Like I hope you have seen in a form also, na? Like you want to select your department, you want to select your city, right? Have you ever seen by filling a form, you need to select a city and list of all the cities are available there. I hope you must have seen that. List of all the cities are available there from where you need to select. Same way we want to do, right? Okay. So we have a list box, right? So from enter, I am importing all the classes, right? Same process. My empty window I'll be creating and I'll be running in the loop. Okay, main loop to display that. Inside that we'll be creating our list box. So for that, I'll be using my function as list box. This is what I'll be using, right? Okay, list box. And I want to display it inside the empty window. So I'll be using here variable L1, right? Then with the help of this L1, I'll be calling all the different values I want to display, right? Like I have L1 dot insert. What value I want to insert? Let's suppose first city. Like I belong to Amritsar. I will mark here the position also where I want to display, right? Sorry. It will be position will be 1 first of all, and then Amritsar will be there, right? Similar way, I want to display many other cities. Option and drag and drop of example. Okay, Sitesh, that I will do in the next class also, right? Yes, we do have these options. Drag and drop, you want to add the file also to drop? Yes, I'll do while we make a login form in the next class also. Is it okay? Right? We are short of the time today. Yes, we have the option in drag and drop. We'll do that example in the next class, right? So let's put Chandigarh, this Ludhiana. Okay, right? Then it's Jalandhar. Is there, right? All these things are there. Okay, I want to display the position also. Yes, you can decide the position of this also. Like I want to display it on position number 2, position number 3, position number 4. So let me run that. And once you run that, you'll be able to display why it is not displaying. Okay, just give me 1 second. Why it is not displaying? I'm using list box. TK. Okay, sorry, my mistake. I'm not displayed it in L1.pack. I have not used, right? And I hope you will be able to see that. Is it visible to you guys? Can you see that? I'm able to select that also. Yes, is it visible to you guys? 0. Is it okay? Fine, understandable, guys. Right? I'm able to select that. So this is another example that we are having is a list box which is available there. Is it understandable to everyone present in the class? Yes. Is it okay for all of you? All the participants? Is it fine? Everyone? Is it understandable? Okay. So I hope that we are good with the today's session. I hope that these things are fine. So let me just save this file on my desktop and I would like to share this file with you guys. So this file is file underscore. Today we have done 28th underscore inta underscore widgets we have done. Okay. So I'm sharing this file as an attachment in your chat so that you can practice it and let me know if you have any kind of doubt which is there. Yes, this video is visible. Yes, will be available there on your channel, right? Okay. Let me share the playlist link also with you guys so that you can find it from there. Okay. Okay, Satish, right? Okay. You see, this is the recording list and this is the feedback also, right? I hope you have received the file, everyone. Have you all received the file, right? Okay, that's fine. I request all of you to please fill the feedback form. I request all of you to please fill the feedback form. And in case you have any other doubt, any other confusion, please do let me know, right? I hope it was a good session and understandable to all the participants in the class. It was nice connecting with you guys. So one more session that we have, we'll talk about this on Monday and that will be all right. Okay. Is it fine? That's all. Rihanna, Madhu, anything else? Saurabh, Kalam, Nitesh? No? The file is there. The feedback form is there. The playlist link is there. I hope you can see that, right? Okay. Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you. Good night. Arushi, one more session we have. Okay. One more session we'll have, Arushi, on Monday.